'Cause we're never gonna survive unless we get a little crazy.
We're recording this right now. We're gonna have to pay somebody. Stop it.
Why are we? No, because you were talking, and I think you have like 8 seconds. Will and I have actually been looking into how much of a song you can use, and also if we then critique the song, like review it, we can do whatever we want with it.
Yes, because then it's for criticism, artistic criticism.
Yes. So Crazy by Seal. That's what we'll be dissecting this week on The Say Report. I'm your host, Devon Decker, and joining me, my host companion, Sejohn.
Oh, thank you for that. French
Like
spin on
a
that
mother's
name.
womb.
Oh God!
Did you know?
Everybody?
Did you know that C Lab 2021's first season is available on Prime Video?
Oh, I did actually know that. There's a lot of that really good stuff available on Prime. Also, though, there's a ton of that stuff up on Hulu, so I've also got a bunch of that.
Oh, dude,
there.
I rewatched it because like I needed something quick and easy to digest.
Nice.
And that show is fantastic.
Does that one have the Bizarro World episode in it?
No, Bizarro World is unfortunately season 2, so I only have the first 10 episodes. But
all I can ever think of is Bizarro Hesh.
Bizarro,
Anytime anybody ever.
I love you, Bizarro, I love you. Oh, Bizarro Hesh is fantastic too. All right, so
some sex. So we are here, man.
We are here.
It
feels like we were here 24 hours ago.
I was gonna say, in like not even 36 hours ago, we were having this experience.
This experience, not this exact same conversation, though.
I have to tell you, the last 36 hours have been a struggle and a triumph for me.
Oh God!
I have gone into the belly of the beast, Devon.
Then Sejohn, you have the floor.
I went to Toys R Us yesterday. Man, things aren't going great for them. Did you hear about this?
I'm sorry. Wait. You're asking me if I'm familiar with what's going on at Toys R Us.
You know,
you're
today,
asking the guy who doesn't want to grow up because he's a Toys R Us kid. I mean, there's a million toys at Toys R Us that I could play with. I got offered a job once at the North Attleboro Toys R Us.
It's a good thing you didn't take it. That's
yeah, right. Hindsight being 2020, because they were setting up a karaoke machine display in the electronics department, and no one who worked there knew how to do it.
Are you kidding me? So nobody at Toys R Us actually knew anything about a product they were selling?
Oh, don't
really?
do that.
How
That's
that
mean.
Business,
you know what? No,
how is that business going
We're
away?
not going to slander Toys R Us because some of the greatest friendships in retail I have are with people who work at Toys R Us. Also powered by David Howard, of like all people, like a girl who was a manager over at the Warwick Toys R Us. She's like, "Yeah, you're Devon, right? David Howard." And I'm like, "Okay, that was a conversation that we just had somehow."
Toys R Us infamously rejected the internet in the most astounding business decision I've ever seen in the last decade. They overwhelmingly denied that the internet existed until the very last moment when they were like, fine, we'll create a website, whatever. And then they put together the shoddiest website they possibly could. Yes, there's a reason that they aren't going to be around.
Let's talk about one thing, though. Since we're Toys R Us, right? Why the hell not? Yeah. What they did was they enacted a bunch of the video game schemes that like currently drive that whole market. Like, you know how Amazon
GameStop would not be able to do kind of some of the weird business gross stuff that they do if Toys R Us hadn't come up with it. But like Toys R Us.
Oh, I'm talking even further. I'm talking. I bought all of my video games from 2008 to 2010 at Toys R Us. And the reason for this, it started with, I mean, maybe we can do research or whatever. It either started with Super Mario Galaxy or Ghostbusters. It was one of those games that started this trend. And what it was when you bought a game new at Toys R Us, you got a $20 gift card to Toys R Us that could not be used that day. And the way that they rang it up was awesome. The game would ring up at $40, and then you would basically buy a $20 gift card. Like it was this like really crazy thing. But I'm like, I really want to get Super Mario Galaxy. Like, that was the last time I was excited about a Mario game before Mario Odyssey, obviously. So I went out and I bought it because $20 of money at Toys R Us. I'm going to spend that, right? At the time, the Universe Transformers were really big, and I think I had just lost my job too. So I was playing a lot of video games while collecting unemployment and finishing up my last year of college. Like, it just worked for me where I'm like, oh, if I can save a little bit of money by buying this game, it works. And that got me locked into this weird schism and scheme at Toys R Us where I would buy my games there. Like, the next game after Odyssey that I remember buying was, not Odyssey, Galaxy, was the Ghostbusters video game, which I got a $20 gift card for. So really, that cost me $20 because I used the Mario Galaxy $20 gift card, gave them $40, and then they gave me $20 to use later on down the line, which I would then use for Red Dead Redemption. Like, and this is
and you became a lifelong customer.
But here's the crazy thing, right? That scheme right there, which, like, you can poop on Toys R Us all you want, and they've definitely made some mistakes. And I think all of us can admit that.
Like letting you buy video games for $20 for 2 years running?
Yeah, yes. That's a really good point that you make there. Because I didn't buy anything else. I was just buying video games. I'm like, oh, I'll save the money and do that. I think Infamous 2 was the last game that I bought on that whole scheme. And then that was a good day. I'm not going to go into why the rest of that day was a good day, but the day I bought Infamous 2 was a good day.
Well, there you go. We'll live with that mystery.
But yeah, so that was the thing. But look at, like, Best Buy now has their Gamers Club where you get basically 20% off if you go by the game in store. Amazon, if you're an Amazon Prime member, you save the 20%. Like, they were ahead of the game in a lot of the, like, weird ways to build a customer base.
Yes. But again, I would argue that not many of them ever stuck. And I like the attitude at that Toys R Us now, never mind what it used to be, it is something else, man. I walked into Toys R Us, and I think that every single employee I got within 5 feet of refused to make eye contact and shuffled off into a back room as fast as possible. As soon as a customer came near them, it was like roaches, like, running from the light. Like, they just want nothing to do with anybody right now. And I don't blame them, but man, it was weird going into a store, and it was the apocalypse, Devon. There were kids everywhere, just strewn bodies, just pulling at toys and just ripping things apart. Parents screaming at them, and just, like, paper goods everywhere. And like
Dogs
I said,
and
every
cats
employee
living together, mass hysteria.
It was nuts, man. And the worst part about it is, after everything, all of this stuff about whatever deals or whatever they were letting people get away with, this is when they've decided everything's basically full price again. The best sale that I could find was like 10% off on stuff.
Okay.
They had signs up that were like, store closing, everything must go. And then it was just like, here's 5% off Legos. Great, guys. Great.
So here's the joke. All right. So Toys R Us, perfect fucking thing to talk about. Because this would not work as, like, a bankable can episode that we talked about doing because it's so fucking relevant to the moment. But I have so many Toys R Us stories. Like, I got real into. I was actually just thinking about this today. New Year's 2014. Let's call it 2014, right? I went to Toys R Us before going to the Pizza Hut on Reservoir Avenue in Cranston for the all-you-can-eat buffet. And at the Toys R Us, I found a Marvel Legends figure. They decided that they were going to relaunch and revamp this entire line, and I found this beautiful black cat Marvel Legends figure. That, like, the sculpt and everything, and for $20, I couldn't believe what I was getting for this figure. And that got me back into the deep, dark world of collecting Marvel Legends figures. Which, if you're a normal person out there, you've never done this. But if you're insane, welcome to the club. I'd love to hear from you. But if you're a normal person, you buy the characters that you want, specifically because they are the characters that you want. Oh, I'd love to have a Black Cat figure. Yeah, I'll take a Spider-Man. Whatever, right? You're not going to buy I'm trying to think of the most like obscure character that existed in that series specifically.
Did they ever do a Leia Thompson from Howard the Duck?
No. I'd have like 4 of them. Are you kidding me? No, but we'll get to the whole scheme of Marvel Legends and the problem. I guess the most obscure figure in that lineup that like jumps to mind is the fact that they did Spider-Man based specifically on the Amazing Spider-Man movie that had just come out, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
the Andrew Garfield one, and they also did a Superior Spider-Man, which was based on him in the comics, which was literally the exact same sculpt, but the blue was black. And that's a thing. And it's like, I only need one of them. And honestly, between the two, I probably only needed the Superior Spider-Man figure. I didn't need another Spider-Man in his classic colors. But Marvel Legends, and this is a brilliant thing, and I think Marvel Legends is the first one who did it, they did Build-A-Figures.
Oh, really? Were they the first? I mean, I guess Marvel Legends has been around for a while.
Marvel Legends has been around for like ever. Like,
yeah,
I feel like Apocalypse was the first Build-A-Figure like that.
I mean, it's what everybody does now, right?
They built that. I mean, like, the first Build-A-Figure that I ever got, Sejohn was there, was a Mega Man 5 charging Mega Man. And that's because we went to a KB Toys at frickin' the Rentham outlets that had the Mega Man figures available for like $2. That was a good day. I still have all those figures.
Yeah.
And that's just like I'm never going to fall into this trap. And then I see this Black Cat, and I'm like, I'm gonna buy Black Cat. That's all I'm gonna buy. And the Build-A-Figure was Green Goblin, and it was the Green Goblin based specifically on Ultimate Spider-Man. So it was like the cool, basically the Hulk, but also the Green Goblin. And it had like nice fire accessories and stuff. And I'm like, maybe I'm going to do this. Maybe for the first time ever, I'm going to buy this whole set, even though I don't even care about some of these characters. Because I want the Green Goblin figure. And I did that. And that opened up the worst fucking trapdoor ever for me. I was going to TJ Maxx's and Marshall's because they had bought a bunch of discontinued Marvel Legends figures, and just so I could build the figures. Like, I was chasing the dragon of building the Marvel Legends figures. Like, I wanted an Arnim Zola. I wanted a Hit Monkey. I wanted a Rocket Raccoon. And so I would like go on these long trips, but Old Reliable became Toys R Us. And the reason is, I'm going to throw a lot of vocab words out there if you're not a toy collector, is short packing. Do you know what a character being short packed is, Sejohn?
No, tell me. Tell me.
The most famous example of short packing is April O'Neil in the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle sets. Each box of the Ninja Turtles would have the 4 turtles. It would have 2 shredders, and it had 3 of one of the turtles. I think Raphael, 2 of all the others, 2 shredders, and 1 April O'Neil. Like, that was the original box assortment of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That might not be correct or something like that, but it was that. Like, there was only 1 April per box. So she was packed shorter than everything else. Meaning, basically, for every 3 Raphael, you're only going to find 1 April O'Neil.
In the world, out in the wild, when you're going shopping.
When you're going shopping, right? And the reason for this is that boys will not buy female action figures. That is like this long-held belief. Is that
if it's
boys
a girl, they don't want it.
They don't want it.
Right.
They don't want it. As I look at my Sailor Jupiter figure and think about the fact that like Black Cat is what opened this door up to me again. Really, what opened the door up to me is that I found a red She-Hulk like action figure at Walmart on clearance for $1. That was like when they're like, we're done with Marvel Legends, we'll never do it again. And I'm like, well, I'm going to buy it. I freaking love red She-Hulk because it's Betty Brant finally becoming a Hulk. Spoilers. So short packing is the real fucking... Here's the issue. The reason that you do Build-A-Figures is so that every character has a better chance of selling, right?
Right.
Arguably, every character is going to sell because the Build-A-Figure is going to entice people to shell out their money.
Yeah.
Now, the Black Cat came with the torso of the Green Goblin, right?
Okay.
That's the scene that she came with. So
And that's no fun.
that's
you can't
not
have
fun
just
alone,
a
right? It's not like the arm is fun. Like I have a
or a
anti-monitor
head,
arm
right?
that I like have had fun with. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't have fun with just the torso. But because people are probably not going to buy the black cat because boys don't play with toys of girls, they put the most important part of building the figure with her. So that like half the people who are buying it, not even half. Let's be honest. 70% of the people who are buying that figure are buying that figure because they want the torso to complete the Build-A-Figure, and the other 30 actually want a Felicia Hardy as the Black Cat action figure.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking hate you. I can't believe you got me down this fucking road.
Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy we're talking about toy collecting.
So one of the figures, the thing that I really, really wanted was they what the fuck are they called? The shield robots. Do you know what they're called?
The pre-Ultrons? What are we talking about?
They're not pre-Ultrons. They're like big hulking. They kind of look like the Ironmonger, but they have the flat head. I can't think of the name of him, but for Marvel, the Winter Soldier, that was the Build-A-Figure, was one of Mandroids. They're called Mandroids. Fuck me. Fuck me in my face. They're called Mandroids. They're Shield's Mandroids. And the Build-A-Figure for that was a Mandroid, and it's this awesome figure. But for that, you needed to buy I bought Baron Zemo. And that made me happy because I'm like, I've never thought I would own a Baron Zemo toy. And it is one of the most beautiful action figures that I have ever purchased. And then I look at it and I'm like, I'd like to buy the Mandroid. In order to build the rest of the Mandroid, you need to buy 2 Captain Americas, 1 like comic accurate, 1 movie accurate. You had to buy a Winter Soldier. You had to buy an Agent of Hydra. So just like basic troop building fucking Hydra soldier.
Wait, not even make him one of like the named ones from Deadpool or something?
No, it's not even Bob. It's just like,
oh, man.
Like, and here's the thing, because it's Hasbro, right? And Hasbro had like a real hard-on for troop builder figures anyway. So people were excited about that. And then you also had to get an Agent of AIM. So like one of the fucking yellow guys that basically just looks like they're in a Fallout suit. You had to get a Johann Schmidt Red Skull, and you had to get fucking the Black Widow. Now, all of those other ones that I mentioned, right? They come 2 to a box. Black Widow comes 1 to a fucking box. And again, comes with the fucking torso piece. So if you want to build the Mandroid, you fucking need to find a Black Widow. Good luck, motherfucker.
I mean, even if you're just looking to just have fun with a couple of the pieces you already have, you need at least the torso in order to attach the head to, right?
Right, so it's like it's broken or like...
Right, oh, I'll never build this whole thing because I'm not going to spend that much money, but I at least need like 2 legs and a torso and a head, right? Like maybe I don't need the arms, or maybe I don't need both legs, but man, you need that torso for everything.
The torso really ties the room together. It's like the dude's rug.
I've often said that about the human body, yes.
So what I started to do, and this is for real. This is a real, true-life toy hunting confession, is I would get up stupid early on the weekends, and I would go to Toys R Us before they opened. And it would be me, it would be this old codger dude who was there for the fucking Hot Wheels, and then it would be like randoms. But it was me and this old guy who literally went there every week to get a look at the new Hot Wheels that went out on every Saturday. And I would go Saturdays, I'd go to the North Attleboro Toys R Us, and Sundays I would go to the Warwick Toys R Us. This was my life in 2014. I am not kidding you that like this is the hold that Marvel fucking Legends figures had on me. And to the point where like that's why like some of the greatest people I've met in retail are at Toys R Us. And like you'd get there and they'd let us in, and it would be like this really calm. It's the coolest thing, because I don't know if you've ever been at stores for like openings before, but there were times where like people act like fucking children, and like it's a mad dash and they're running and everybody wants to tickle me Elmo. But there was this real like kind of calm, quiet, we all respect each other that I've only ever seen before at Target when I went to buy my new 3DS XL. Where like, no, we all understand when we were here. We understand that we're all going to have to walk to the electronics department, but we're not going to all go a different path. It's not mad world. We understand that who was here and when they were here. So that's what I did, and that's what I became. And I finally built my Mandroid, and then I'm like, I'm fucking done with this. I'm not hunting for toys anymore. Partially because I bought a Wrecking Crew Wrecker figure, and it was $24 at Newbury Comics because they jacked the price up. And I moved the arm once, and it broke off in my hand. So I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I can't be spending money on things that are going to fucking break. But then secondarily, I could pre-order them online, right? And we talked about how Toys R Us never embraced the internet.
No.
So I pre-order. So for Christmas, I'm like, all I want for fucking Christmas is the Guardians of the Galaxy Marvel Legends box. And that's what I got. And that's how I got to build a figure of Groot before, like, Groot was anything. And those were released, like, well before the movie came out. So I didn't have any feelings for these characters or anything, but I wanted it so bad and I didn't want to have to hunt for it. And then, like, there was an internet-only X-Men box, and they hadn't done X-Men figures for years because of all the fucking licensing with Fox and everything.
Yeah,
so
right.
And the Build-A-Figure for this one, and this is the whole reason why we're talking about this, was fucking Jubilee. So instead of like this big, bulky, hulking figure that you would build, all you were going to build was fucking Jubilee, who's like the size of these other action figures. And I had to pre-order that, and I put down $180 to pre-order that online through like Dorkside Toys.
Man, but they didn't even bother making it like a... Oh, man.
No,
That's
not like a
upsetting.
bigger figure. And like in that set, there was like a really cool, not Silver Samurai Striker. There was like a really good Striker figure. So make him the Build-A-Figure, right? But
Right.
no, they make it this like a tiny freaking Marvel Legends. Each females and males each have 4 body types, ranging from 1 to 4. 1 being the most petite, 4 being the largest. This is shit that I have in my head. So Jubilee was basically just a female 1 body split up into the torso came with Storm, so that you're like, oh, well, you're gonna have to buy the girl still, right? And the torso may have had legs on it. In fact, it did have fucking legs on it. It was the torso and the legs. Wolverine came with her right arm. Stryker came with her left arm. Another character that I don't remember who was in the set came with her head, and then Cyclops in his X-Force 5 outfit came with nothing. But because it was an online exclusive sale, it was an online exclusive, you're not going to be able to buy this in stores, you had to pre-order the entire set for $180. And I'm like, I want it. I want a fucking Jubilee figure because I grew up watching the show and that. So I pre-order it. And I pre-order it the day that it goes available. And then, like, I'm waiting. And I get an email saying that my pre-order has been canceled. And the reason is that the demand was higher than they thought, which doesn't make sense because it's pre-orders, right? So how can the
Right.
demand be higher than you thought? So they didn't produce enough figures to supply that. So then rather than being an online-only sale, they made it an exclusive at Toys R Us. I never
So they
got my
canceled the
Jubilee.
entire thing.
Yeah. So they canceled the whole thing, sent it to Toys R Us, where I'm like, I'm done. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do it. I had someone call me up and say, like, they have the X-Men X Legends at fucking Toys R Us right now. You should get down here. And I, like, called them, and I'm like, can you put them on hold for me? And I drove there in the rain at 8:30. They always close at 9 o'clock. That's another issue that Toys R Us has, that they close earlier than everybody else. And I get there, and I look at them, I'm like, I'm not going to buy them. I'm sorry that you guys put them aside for me. I'm sorry about all of this. I cannot bring myself to spend money on this anymore. And that's when I got out. That's when I got out of fucking Marvel Legends, was that they botched that fucking X-Men Legends thing.
And then you stepped out into the rain, you threw your hands in the air, and were like, why, God, why?
No, it was more like freedom. It was sort of like the Shawshank. Like,
There you go.
"Ah!"
Just covered in mud and shit. Just Devon just out in the
Just out in
Toys
the
R Us parking
lot
lot.
of the Toys R Us at Warwick. Kids are walking by.
Oh, man.
But that's the thing. So the long story short is, as a kid, spent a lot of time at Toys R Us, but also as an adult, spent a lot of time, like too much time at Toys R Us. There's a Toys R Us in Waterford, Connecticut, at exit 82 on 95 South that when I drive by it, I say hello to that Toys R Us.
Well, it seems like you not going anymore is the reason they're closing then, Jeff.
It kind of feels that way, I'm not going to lie.
You did it. You done broke Jeffrey's heart.
My God, the whole point of this fucking story is that in the groups, right? Because like I still stay in touch with some of the toy collecting people that like I somehow came into my life, and the joke is all over these toy collecting groups is the discounts now that Toys R Us is closing finally brings down the markup. So like it'd be like going to Walmart. Meanwhile, this weekend Walmart is fucking just clearance all of their Marvel Star Wars Black Label figures so that they were $5, and in their infinite wisdom released all the Han Solo figures alongside it. So you could get a $5 Solo, $5 Calrissian with the creepiest face you ever did see. Donald Glover's Calrissian figure looks fucking scary.
Oh no.
He looks like Floop from Spy Kids.
Oh man.
And Grand Moff Tarkin. Like those are the ones that I saw for $5 at a Walmart, and I'm like, what's the point? Like basically, here's what I declared to myself today. Cause they did this I was done with toys. I was done with toys. I went to PAX Unplugged in Philadelphia, and we went to the Target across the street, and I'm like, I'm going to buy this action figure. It's going to be the last action figure that I ever buy. And then this year, they announced that Alita 1, the female Optimus Prime, for those who are not like huge into Transformers, was finally getting an action figure. So I'm like, I need to get Alita 1. I need to get Alita 1.
And with that, you're right back in.
But I'm not right back in. Because I didn't buy Moonracer, even though I should have, because she's short-packed, and people are saying that they've never seen her out in the wild, and I've seen her twice. But now, like, they're redoing Moonracer as Nova Star, and it looks like the most beautiful figure ever. And I'm like, no, you need to stop. Toys need to stop. Because the rest of the world is fucking overbuying toys, Devon. You cannot still be into it. That being said, if KB Toys really does come back, I'm definitely going to go there all the time.
Yeah. So I went to Toys R Us yesterday.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. So, Sejohn, tell us about your visit to the Toys R Us.
Oh, man. It was Zombieland. That's all. I like walking into that place. It was crazy. Like, it was a madhouse and also like a ghost town all wrapped up into one. I don't know how else to describe it. Like, it sounded like there were people everywhere, and then you'd look down an aisle and everyone would scatter. They'd just run away. And it was just like, I don't know how they intend to clear out these Toys R Us's. Like, I don't know what their plan is, but man, I'm waiting for them to drop their prices to a point where they're finally like affordable. And like, I guess I just always knew that Toys R Us was in that like vein of just a little overpriced, but I just didn't realize it until this time when I was, I wanted to do something because like it's kind of a big deal. Toys R Us has been around at least since I was born, like they've just been a thing in the world. I remember it was how I used to do my Christmas
big toy
list.
Book.
Yeah,
Everybody
my Christmas list every year,
book.
right? Like, and the fact that wasn't a thing anymore was kind of weird, and now the fact that it'll never be a thing is even weirder. I don't know. It just felt like something that like I had to do, but I did it, and now I feel almost ashamed. It was like walking in on like somebody dying not well, like, oh, this is not how I want to remember this place,
I understand that 100%, and I guess I'll tell another story, probably from the last time I went to a Toys R Us. I might go back again, but a couple of Fridays ago, it was the last day before I was starting my new job, and I took that Friday off so that we could go to literally the mecca of toy collecting for New England. As far as I can tell, and if anyone knows anything else and you want to like swap notes, find me on the internet. I'd love to discuss it. But Manchester, Connecticut has long been my mecca of toys in the New England area. And the reason for this is I went to BotCon in 2007. That is the big Transformers convention that took place in Providence. it happened the weekend that Transformers the movie released. It's the weekend that I met Tyrese Gibson, completely unrelated to the fact that there was a Transformers convention in town. Like, I mean, we met at the premiere of Transformers, but that premiere was not associated with that convention in any way, shape, or form. And I met Tyrese Gibson. It was this crazy thing. Also,
I mean, with Hasbro being so close to Providence,
it makes sense
I think
on
something
a lot of levels.
I think something was probably thought about at some point.
But can I tell you that? But here's the thing. All right, have I ever told the Tyrese story on this show? I told the story a bunch on Two Friends on a Couch. So what happened was the day of the premiere in Providence, the radio station 92 Pro FM had a contest to win tickets to it. And on like a freaking whim, I dialed and I end up winning tickets to go to the premiere of Transformers that evening. And I'm like, oh, cool, this is exciting. And that night on the way up there, I stop at Toys R Us and there are the new figures. So I'm like, this is all sort of meant to be. So we get to the movie theater early. Like earlier than we were supposed to, because there's like going to be like a little cocktail hour with open bar. Like it was like a real Hollywood-esque premiere happening in Rhode Island. But it's at Providence Place, which is a weird place to do that, right? On levels, because it's basically a mall at the same time. So we're there killing time before it starts, and I'm in Newbury Comics, and on a top shelf. Now, do you remember where Newbury Comics used to be in Providence Place Mall? Where like garages now.
Yeah, and it was like a huge store when it was there.
But I'm just gonna paint it for you. There were those windows, right, that looked out on the third-story parking garage.
Right,
kinda.
and they were
that's
probably
where
full
the
of like
comics
mannequins or whatever.
That's where the comics and stuff were located for a while. And the comic-related collectibles. So I go over there and I look up, and on the top shelf, like outside of my reach, is something that I'm looking for. We are friggin' 11 years removed from this moment in my life. I don't remember what it was, but I remember it being something that I had been looking for and I could not believe was there. So I go to reach it. I'm too short. So I, in my infinite wisdom, step up on the shelf, like the lower shelf, to like get a boost up, and that shelf broke.
Oh, gee, I wonder why.
Yeah,
the
right?
shelf meant to hold paper, like toys and paper goods, and can't hold a human man.
So that shelf breaks, and I've fallen, and I'm like, well, this is it, right? Doesn't matter that I found a Barricade action figure tonight. I was about to go see like a real Hollywood premiere movie, but my stupidity, I'ma die. I'm going to fall, I'm going to crack my head, and that will be the end of the sad, strange tale of Devon Decker.
How did he die? Well, he saw his toy on the top shelf. Never mind. That's it. That's all we need to know. We obviously.
So as I'm falling, and I'm saying, like, you fucking idiot, who catches me but Tyrese motherfucking Gibson? I am not kidding.
That's phenomenal.
Tyrese Gibson catches me in the Newbury Comics, and I'm like, oh, and he's like, oh, you all right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Thank you.
Thank you for saving my life, handsome man.
like it's that part, like, you know, since we're talking Rhode Island anyway, it's that scene in the 15th episode of Family Guy where he falls out the window and Spider-Man catches him, and he's like, everybody gets one. Like,
yeah.
I half expected Tyrese to be like, everybody gets one.
And then disappear.
So I'm just like, oh, thank you. And he's like, which one were you trying to get? And I point at it, and he, no issue, reaches up, grabs it, and hands it to me. And I go, thanks. And he's like, yeah, just be more careful in the future. No names are exchanged. No nothing. Like, it is just this, like, blink and you fucking miss it. That was my chance to, like, converse with Tyrese Gibson. And there it goes, right?
How did he die? Oh, my God.
So I look at this thing, and then I'm like, oh, that's too expensive. And I just leave it on the broken shelf.
I know, man. At that point, you buy it just to have it for the
just for the story, right? So,
oh my God.
So we go to the thing, and it's this lovely event. Like I said, open bar. We each get little swag boxes that have like Potatomus Prime in them, and like just a really good event. But, you know, then it's time to get in, and we're near the end of the line getting in. So we are like seated. It's first of all, it's in the big house at Providence Place Mall. So I think it's like Theater 15. if it is the one all the way to the back, just so
But,
that
like,
like you can see it.
Right.
So
and it's the giant one that they have, right?
It's that giant theater that they have. And we are seated like 4th row from the front. So it's like not a great place to be, right? But so
that is the theater. that is not a great seat to be. But I will say really quickly that is the theater that I saw the midnight premiere of Spider-Man 3 in, and we were so late getting to it that we had to sit the very front row of that theater and look up straight up the whole time. Sorry.
No, it's fine. No, continue. So I sit down and there's a seat next to me. There was an empty seat next to me. It does not say reserved or anything. And I'm just sitting there, and then who comes triangling over but Tyrese Gibson? And he goes, yo, is that seat open? And I go, yeah. So he sits next to me, and we start chatting then. So not only do I get the story of Tyrese Gibson saved my life, Tyrese sits next to me during fucking Transformers.
Oh my god.
So we sit and we talk a little, and he's like, oh, they want me to say a few words. And I'm like, yeah, go ahead. So he goes, and then everyone around me like, how long have you fucking known Tyrese? Because, like, we're not talking like I'm some starstruck fucking fan who, like, Too Fast, Too Furious is the greatest movie I have ever seen. And it's only 80% because of you. The rest is ludicrous. No, it's like, so it's this moment where everybody's like, how long have you known Tyrese? Like, is he the reason you're here? Who's that girl with him? And it's just like, acting chill. And then we watched a movie, and then Tyrese and I talk about the movie afterwards. I'm not sure what the point of this story was. I feel like I just wanted to brag about...
That's all. The point of this story was a humble brag, but that's okay.
No, but it was related.
If I met Tyrese, though, I would have done nothing but bug him about Fast and the Furious 2 the entire time, and asked him about working with Ludacris. That would have been the extent of our conversation. He would have kicked me out.
Yeah, he would have been like, get out of here. He wouldn't
have left.
The reason behind this story is Manchester, Connecticut being the mecca of toy collecting for all of New England. So that happens, and then the weekend goes on, and I go to BotCon, and the Optimus Prime truck from the movie is there, and I'm looking at it, and I'm touching it, because there's nothing that says you can't touch it, and I end up opening the door.
And who should be inside but Tyrese?
No, that'd be great, but that'd be a little too good, let's be honest. But then, like, security descends upon me, and they're like, how'd you open the door? And I'm like, it was unlocked. Like, honestly, maybe lock the door of Optimus Prime.
Maybe lock the...
So that was like this like really funny moment. And then every BotCon ends. I mean, BotCons don't happen anymore. They've been turned into HasCons. But every BotCon ended with a sizzle reel of like the upcoming figures. And the figures that they were releasing was Transformers Animated. Do you remember Transformers Animated?
Yeah, man.
Like, yes, that was a great, you were part of our, like, weirdly weekly watches of that, right? With J-Bro and everything?
Not frequently, but yes, I was definitely watching it alongside you guys and in on it when you guys watched it.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So,
it's the only actual Transformers that I actually have any real connection to.
Because it's the best.
Even the movies, yeah. I am in no way, like, married to. But anyway, sorry.
So, yeah, no, it's completely fine. So, Transformers Animated, so not only do they announce the show, they announce the figures. And they're like, and they'll be out sometime Q3. The next week, someone mentions on the internet, on one of these toy collecting sites that I frequent, that they have found the Transformers Animated figures out in the world. And that it's in Manchester, Connecticut. So I'm like, well, I'm going to go to Manchester, Connecticut. I've never been there before, but I need to go. I need these figures now. I didn't even know who the characters were. It was just the announcement of these figures had me so excited. So we get in a car and we drive up to Manchester, Connecticut. We walk into a fucking Walmart of all places, right? There's a Toys R Us, there's a Target, but we walk into a Walmart. Every single figure is right there on the shelf, just waiting to be purchased. And it is like the greatest feeling ever. Because they said that these were going to be out like 6 months from now, and suddenly I'm staring them in the face, and they're official. They're Hasbro releases. I don't know what happened.
So Manchester is the mecca because somebody cut Street Date. Somebody out there was just like, these came in. I'm not paying attention to any of the paperwork. Let's just put these on a shelf.
Dude, but like that has happened so many times that I've since then, if I've ever looked for a figure, I go to Manchester, Connecticut. Like if there's any whisper on the wind that something might be out there in the world, I pack up a car with some people, I follow 395 to Route 2 into Manchester, Connecticut, and I have these great adventures going there because you hit the Walmart, you hit the Target, you hit the Toys R Us, and there's a Sonic. So like there's something for fucking everybody. Let's just be honest about it. There's also a Hooters, but Hooters is sad. I feel like we don't address how sad Hooters is.
Like as a society, we don't.
I just feel like as individuals.
Individuals, no, you're right. We should remind each other before we record every episode from here on out that, by the way, Hooters, yeah, kind of sad.
Kind of sad. It's kind of a sad thing. And it's not the ladies. I give all the power to the women who work at Hooters. It's the people who go to Hooters specifically to ogle over those women.
Mm-hmm.
I will be the first person to admit I am in Hooters for two reasons. The lots of tots and the fucking chicken wings.
Oh, man, those chicken wings, I'm not great, though.
You know what, though? I love the breading. Like, it's such a good chicken wing.
I mean, I guess it's just not worth the awkwardness of sitting in a Hooters. And that's all it is, because other people make it super awkward.
Other people do make Hooters super awkward. But so we went up there when we heard that Toys R Us was closing. We decided the place that we're going to go to, the Toys R Us we're going to go to, is the Manchester, Connecticut Toys R Us. Because for years, this is where we have found everything. Like, years after they had been released and were available on the shelf, I found the dual pack of red aliens versus brown aliens. Like, with xenomorphs type stuff. Like,
oh, man.
And it was, like, on clearance for $10. And I'm like, yes. I have a Predator action figure that I am staring at right now. He's in camouflage mode. I got him for free because I bought that alien set.
I got one of those too. I just don't remember where I put him down.
Thank you. Thank you for that bit. I love you. I honestly love you. So we decided, like, this is where we're going to go. We're going to take the trip up to Manchester. And this is the first time we actually went to the Hooters in Manchester. We went to Hooters in Manchester that first time we found the Transformers, but that was a different group of people. This was just my sister and I going to that Toys R Us and going to that Hooters. And here's the thing about that Toys R Us. First of all, if you get the chance to go to a Toys R Us before they inevitably all close down, go over to, like, the kid toy area. It's going to be, like, 2 aisles over from the Legos. And just look at the Alvin and the Chipmunk action figures that currently exist based on the Nickelodeon property.
Which already makes them look super weird in the show. But sorry, keep going.
Like, I looked upon them. I looked upon a full fucking display of these Alvin and the Chipmunk figures and was just like...
And the Abyss stared back.
Why? Why do you exist? These exist? Why? Why does this exist? And then we looked through the store, and again, true to form, Manchester fucking Connecticut delivered. They had this beautiful 5-poster set from last year's Power Rangers, right? So a year ago Power Rangers... and it's 5 different posters, and if you get all of them, you can arrange them, and they make a beautiful panoramic with, like, the Zords and everything. And gorgeous. Dale was all about it. She's like, I'm going to buy these because Toys R Us is fucking closing, and their posters, how expensive can they be?
About $3.98 a piece.
How about $8 a fucking poster?
Oh, no.
$8 a poster.
What are you doing?
I'm like, I wouldn't pay that even if, like, what? And then, like, we start looking at other stuff, and all of the prices were higher than what they usually were when you went to Toys R Us.
Yeah, man.
You're looking at a person who I got, like, 4 or 5 copies of, not Comic Book the Movie, because Comic Book the Movie is fucking awesome. Pause for station identification, and to say that Mark Hamill's mockumentary Comic Book the Movie is something every single person should watch at least twice in their life. Because he totally called the entire world of comic book movies we currently reside in back in 2004. Yeah. And it's fucking great. But Comic-Con, the movie, which is the Super Size Me guy, his movie, I got like 4 or 5 copies of that because they were running a special at Toys R Us. If you bought any NECA branded action figure, you got a copy of that DVD for free. a $15 value. And Toys R Us was entered into an exclusive deal with NECA to sell the electric Gremlin from Gremlins 2.
Excellent.
So like that's the only place you could get it, and they were over fucking stocked on this figure because basically it's a sheet of paper for $20 fucking dollars. So like I kept looking and watching to see if the price would go down. Eventually, this figure comes out to $1. And it's $1, and you get a free copy of Comic Book the Movie with any NECA figure that you buy. So I bought 5 of that figure, and I got 5 copies of Comic-Con the Movie. And yes, one of our listeners received one of those as a birthday/Christmas gift, and I'm not even sorry that you now know the origin of it.
There you go.
It is because that's what Toys R Us did. But then, yes, they're closing, right? That's why we're there. So we see these like metal signs that like have cool movie quotes on them. And it specifically says above the metal signs that they're $2. We get to the register. It rings up at $27.
What?
And we're like, it says 2. And they're like, oh, someone just must have put it there. Because it was in the register is what we're charging. And then like, oh, okay. And then like, they have these weird, I don't know the company that makes them. Probably like Stempel. Is it like Stempel or Schlemmel? It's Schlemmel. I hate myself.
Swanson?
No, it's Schlemmel.
Right there on the bag.
Schmemmel. Schlemmel.
Schlemmel.
They have these like Jeffries like designed to be like, remember Toys R Us and how much fun you had here. And Dale's like, I'm definitely going to get one of those. And when you look at that thing, it's like, this can't be more than $5. $18.
Right. I mean, like, especially if it's like a make good for like, hey, Toys R Us is closing. Like, here's this thing to help us to like remember us by. Like, why would it be more than $5?
And it's probably a thing that they sold before, have just a huge fucking warehouse full of, and now they're bringing them back to. And it's a make good. It's like have this thing to remind you of Toys R Us in your house. It was just like that was what was depressing to me. Is that I was a Toys R Us kid through and through. I sang the song. I set up that karaoke machine to go back to the earlier story, and I sang the Toys R Us Kids song, and the manager of the North Attleboro Toys R Us offered me a job on the spot. She did not know anything else that I could do. She just wanted someone who knew the Toys R Us fucking Kids theme song to work at her store.
We need somebody to be a Jeffrey.
Like, it's just like, but like I could have done it. Like I know the material and the product in a way that like few people I go and I would talk to people there and would know anything about the stuff.
This is what it is, man. The toy collection biz, it's really just this big thing to get you in to become one of the Toys R Us zombies. You buy into it, and then suddenly you find yourself at a Toys R Us, and then one day you're a Jeffrey. You're just walking around selling toys to kids, overpriced toys to kids.
Oh, man. But yeah, so that's it. So, but like going to that Manchester one and seeing the prices higher than they had ever been before, that was really like just a sad moment for me in this whole downfall of Toys R Us. And I can't believe we've talked for 48 minutes about this. You beautiful bastard. This was not my intention to talk about this. I had other things, but no, this is great. Thank you so much for letting me finally confess about all of my toys in this The Toy Report. Jesus.
Yeah, well, you know, it was just it's something that cannot go unmarked, especially by this show, right? Like, I mean, it's the passing of a giant, you know, that really kind of formed a lot of the zeitgeist for a lot of kids. You know, like going to the toy store, like way back in the day, that meant like a mom and pop toy store, right? And then slowly throughout the 90s, it meant going to the mega toy store, and Toys R Us is really kind of the only one left of those. And like there aren't toy stores anymore, right? Like not unless they're real niche and specialized. Like even walk into a Disney store now and they're not even really a toy store. Like the toys in any Disney store are just kind of relegated to the back of the store. Most of the stuff that's in there now is all memorabilia. It's just it's weird. Like that kind of stuff is just not going to exist in the future. And thinking about that, right? And what does that mean for the next group of people? Where do they get their fix? You know, what is their destination thing? if it's not to go out and buy toys, right? Because like we're not the only nerds out there, man. Like what are the nerds and the geeks and the dorks of the future? Like what is going to be the thing they go after? You
So
know?
the big issue that I have with it is it's going to become a lot of comic book stores selling it, and like I mentioned already with Newberry Comics, they would take a figure that was literally released like that day, and
Hmm.
because it was short packed, they would tack $30 to the price.
Hmm.
Like I remember seeing, I don't know what figure. I guess Nova. No, it was Rocket Raccoon. It was the Rocket Raccoon figure from that Guardians of the Galaxy set that had the Groot as the Build-A-Figure. And
Yeah.
Rocket Raccoon, already a smaller figure because he's Rocket, right? So he's not going to be the same size. He's not even one of the male 1 through 4. He is like a specialty mold.
Specialized, right.
That they don't sell them alone anymore. Like they have one of him now with a specialty mode of Groot. Like that's how they justify the cost of it. But I remember finding that in a toy store at a Newberry Comics like the Saturday after street date on those, and it was $50. And I'm like, there's no justification of this other than the fact that it's hard to find. So the issue will become like 100% that the prices on collectibles will again be in the hands of comic book stores and specialty shops.
Yeah,
And if
because
you,
it's not gonna be toys anymore. It's gonna be a hobby, right? It's not gonna be for fun. It is out there for the collector that is it's only gonna be for 2014 Devon. It's never gonna be for this new like broken from the system Devon.
right. I mean, and you look at that. I mean, that 2014 was like a big year for me in regards of all of that stuff because it's also when like my Ninja Turtle collecting sort of came to a head. Because IDW, I've talked about IDW and how I disagree with them before on other podcasts. Again, if it's never happened here, this is going to be where I end my thoughts on this whole where collecting is going to go in the future thing. And that is IDW Publishing lucked out and they got a bunch of fucking properties that are worth a ton of money. Transformers, G.I. Joe, Ghostbusters. But like most importantly was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right as like the renaissance of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was about to happen. You had the
Right.
new movie coming out, you had the new show on Nickelodeon, and they had this comic book. But in addition to that, because Peter Laird sold off his stuff of the Ninja Turtles. He had owned it and retained creative control for a real long time. And he sold off saying, I'd like to retain the ability to produce 18 of my own Ninja Turtle things in any given calendar year, but you guys can have literally everything else. And he sold it to Viacom, and that is why Ninja Turtles like is a thing again, is because of that sale to Viacom.
Right.
And IDW, they not only jumped out with their new thing, but said that they were going to do these ultimate collections of the stuff that came before, like the 1984 black and white comics, right?
Nice.
Which is awesome. And so they did these ultimate collections, oversized versions, $50 a book to have like, I think 7 issues per book seems about what it is.
Okay.
And that's fine, right? And they did 5 of these ultimate collections like that. And the other thing that they did, which was very smart, and I will give them all the credit in the world for, and because these are guys that like I've met and I've interacted with, everybody in the Ninja Turtles like family, the creative team family, like Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman, Steve Levine, Jim Lawson, these are great guys. They really are great guys, and I'm not gonna fault them at all for being squirrels trying to get nuts at all. I love all these guys. I have had great memories made with literally every single person combined in the creative like push of Ninja Turtles from the 80s that made it the culture phenomenon that I cared about as a child.
Right.
God damn, what the fuck is this episode, Sejohn?
Yeah, it's the episode where we finally get Devon back on the Ninja Turtles train.
No.
It's been a while. It has been a while, ladies and gentlemen.
It has.
The turtle minute has been gone.
But okay, so like I don't do it, but IDW approached Kevin Eastman and were like, "Hey, do you want to be like a consultant? Like help us push this stuff along? Maybe you can do some more stuff." So what they did, what IDW did, and I specifically fault IDW for this, is about 2 years after they started releasing these ultimate collections, they started releasing like super special editions of them. And like the super special edition came in 3 varieties: the red label, the blue label, and the black label.
Jesus. Okay.
So
Yep.
so basic, the same exact insides as the $50 book that's already out there, right? But if you get the red edition, it has a special cover that has like a signature from Kevin Eastman embossed on it in gold, right? That's $125. For those following at home, that's a $75 markup from the original book, right? No other changes.
And he didn't even sign it. He put his signature somewhere, and then they just did a gold stamp of it on all of them.
Right. Like, and that I might be a little bit off. I think he may have also done like the specialized cover artwork for it, but like content wise, it was basically the same thing, right? And also the red label edition of like the Ultimate Collection Volume 1 was limited to, let's say, 200 pieces. Right?
Jesus.
So,
okay.
So then there's like, oh, it's a limited edition. The blue label, right, sold for $250. For following along, that's a $200 markup off of the MSRP of the original content book. It has the exact same cover art as the red edition, except that instead of a red line, it has a blue line through it.
Okay.
And it comes with a specialized sketch by Kevin. Like nothing, but like a print of it. Like it's not like specifically for you or anything like that. It is a print that goes out in all 100 blue editions that go out.
Okay.
Right? For $250. And then there's the black label, which I was a little upset that they didn't stick with the Johnny Walker color scheme on this. like you guys
would have
missed
been
an
next, green label?
opportunity. Well, no, like blue label would have been the top.
Blue label would have been top. I get you.
And so the top one, the black edition, we're going to start with the cost first. $400.
Jesus. Okay.
So that's a $350 markup. That's a 700% markup.
How many of them have they made?
I believe that one was pressed in like 25, maybe like 10 or 25 of them.
Okay.
It was a low number. Like it was specifically specialized. And that one actually came with a hand-drawn specialized sketch. Like each one of the books had a specific sketch drawn by Kevin Eastman that came with it, right?
Nuts.
Now I don't begrudge that existing, right? Because again, people are going to try to make money. That is the central issue of our economy, of capitalism, of everything, right? Is that it's supply and demand, right? And if they can just supply it and there's a demand out there, there's cash to be made, right? Where this became an issue for me is at the time I was on a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle forum. I will not give the name of it because I don't want to begrudge that forum at all. And people were saying, I'm going to try to get all 3. Why are you going to try to get all 3? Why are you going to try to get all 3 of these editions, spending a total of $775? It's because they're collectors and they feel that they have to own everything. Mm-hmm. And that their collection will not be complete if they don't have it. And like, so that's where like it started to like ruminate in the back of my head that like, that's sort of an issue. Now they're taking advantage of you guys, right? Yeah. Because they know that that's how you act and that's how the collector spirit and mentality is. And I made the mistake of saying that. I made the mistake of saying, like, don't buy all of them. Like, if you're lucky enough to get the black edition, get the black edition. If not, if you're lucky enough to get the blue, get the blue. Why do you need all 3? And they're like, you don't understand collecting. And I'm like, I guess not. But it just seems like you're allowing them to take advantage of you by doing it. And the response that I received, and this is the reason why I walked away from it. Like, I never went back to that forum again, and collecting Ninja Turtle stuff became my own thing. I didn't need to be a part of that community. Was IDW does not need to do this. This is a special treat that they're creating for fans. And it was seeing this, like, blind devotion to the company that, like, they're doing it for us. They're not doing it for them. They're not taking the book that honestly probably cost them $20 to produce and putting a huge markup on it so that they can make money. No, but they are, because they're a company. And it's this like scary thing, and this thing that I've wanted to like look deeper in, but it just depresses me so much that I try not to. It is just like how collectors are being taken advantage of in the modern world. Even
Oh yeah, the
Toys R
current market.
Us.
Yeah, the current market, man, is so dependent on them that they can't let them go, and because of that, I think out of fear, they are just digging into them in the sickest way. And like you're saying with Toys R Us, man, like it's they
Because they were the only game in town, and because you could walk into that and like honestly, and this is me saying this as someone who did it, 80% of the time find something that you were looking for, no matter how obscure it was. They were allowed to jack up their prices. They were
hmm
able to charge $24 for a Transformer figure that you could get for $15 at Walmart. And people would
hmm
gladly pay because it's better than the hassle of doing it online where it might get canceled. And there's this part of me that like it's sad to see Toys R Us go. I will 100% admit that it makes me sad that Toys R Us is leaving us. But on the other hand, like part of me wants to cheer because it means that this marketing is finally falling apart. But the saddest part of it all is that there are going to be the vultures out there, the collecting, the specialty stores that are still going to be able to pick up those pieces and charge these outrageous prices that
Yeah.
people have who have disposable income and like nothing else to spend it on are going to spend it.
Yeah, but the benefit now is that we're not in a world that's going to let them get too big for their britches anymore. You know, like it's never going to be exactly what, you know, it's never going to make you happy anymore, man. But think of it this way. Look at the video game industry, because this is something that actually happened with the video game industry, I think 5 years ago, and it's really interesting because I think the oh man, this could be a whole other episode, but I think the industry that deals with gaming is moving at like fucking light speed. They were born after everybody else, and they seem to have grown older than everybody else instantly. And so like if you look at the way that AAA gaming, these really big expensive games that were costing hundreds of $1 millions to make, blew up like about 10 years ago, right? And then it all just collapsed in on itself within 5 or 6 years. And now the big way that you see gaming being done is indie devs, right? And the way that it's all kind of broken off into these small areas. Now, because of that, we've now started to see other issues arise, like all of the stuff that's come out now about indie game developers like fucking working themselves to death and stuff like that. So like it's a whole new set of problems. So that's what I mean is like you're right in noticing that there's going to be a whole new set of problems now with collecting because of what's happened. But if you look at it the other way, it also means that the field is wide open for improvement now too. So like I'm really excited that places like Toys R Us and other big retailers are not working out. I mean, it sucks for everybody that's involved, and I like it sucks for the people that work there and all of that shit, and I hope that they all find their, you know, their footing somewhere. But also at the same time, the companies that that created this whole like world that we are living in, they cannot continue to operate the way that they're operating, and for us to still be happy, right? Like there's a reason that they're all falling apart now, is because people have kind of started to realize they've all had their moment where they realize that they cannot keep participating in this system the way that it is, because it's taking advantage of people, right? And you noticed it, and unfortunately you noticed it in a moment when you were surrounded by a bunch of people still wearing rose-colored glasses. But you know, nobody outside of that group would ever like take you to task the way that they did for saying what you said, because you're totally right. That is a company taking advantage of people that have disposable income and have a desire to buy a product. And yes, on the individual level, there may be people at IDW that really do care about the IP so much that they wanted this product out there, but it took a bunch of people above them that don't give a shit about Ninja Turtles to say, yes, do that and make it $400, right? If they really cared about like the fan, what they'd be doing is they'd be printing 50 of them, handing 25 of them out to the community, and then selling maybe another 25, right? Like they'd be finding a way to make sure that made it into the hands of their fans, if they really cared about their fans, other than it be with money changing hands, right? Like there's ways to get your product out there and to do again, there's ways to do a make good for your folks out there. You gotta do better by by your fans. You know, Toys R Us couldn't quite figure it out in the end, and they fell apart. And like the same will happen with these other toy stores, these mom and pop shops that are going to try and get too big now because they're going to try and take advantage of these collectors' prices and all this stuff. At some point, they're going to realize that doesn't work either. Keep an eye on GameStop over the next few years. The way that they've kind of leaned into the collectors stuff right now, and the way that they're dealing with stuff, depending on how they play it, if they try and go that route of catering to the hobbyist and making everything too damn expensive, they're gonna find that that's not gonna work for them, you know. And the thing about GameStop is that they're still too much of a business to really kind of worry about the customer, you know. But in a way that Newberry Comics, being a small franchise in the New England area, maybe they can smarten up faster, right? I don't know.
You certainly hope so. But this has been a lot, and I'm going to tell a story after this just to send us off to Will, because it's related to this, and it's as beautiful. It's my most precious moment about Toys R Us, and it's been an episode about Toys R Us. I'd like to end on something happy. So is there anything you'd like to add before we go to that, Sejohn?
No, there was so much more that we wanted to talk about today, but man, this Toys R Us stuff is affecting us a little bit more than I realized it was. But yeah, man, I mean, it sucks. It sucks to see a toy store go because it is so tied to childhood and all that. But also, at the end of the day,
it's tied to our part of the story is us going to that KB Toys together, and that's the thing that just doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it's a weird moment of growing up watching a toy store close.
Oof. Oh man. All right. Well, anyway. So if you have any comments on the stuff that we talked about, I can be reached on Twitter at Devon D. Decker.
And I'm at Siege versus the World.
And so here's my nice Toys R Us story. It's a Sunday morning. I go to get some Marvel Legends figure. I don't remember which one at this time, but it was definitely to get a Marvel Legends figure. And it is just me. There's no one else there at the door when they open. So it's me, and it is the people who are working there on a Sunday morning. And the song that is playing over the radio is a song that I had never heard before. Will introduced it to me earlier that same year. And that song is Somewhere Only We Know by Keane. If you haven't heard the song, definitely Google it, YouTube it, find it. It's a beautiful song. It was featured in Pooh's Grand Adventure. or maybe just the Winnie the Pooh movie that came out around 2012, 2013. I don't think that's Pooh's Grand Adventure, but that song is featured in the trailer, and I imagine the movie. I've never seen the movie. So this song is playing, this song by Keane that's weird and ethereal, and I am the only customer in Toys R Us. And the lyrics are, we'll go somewhere only we know. And I find myself, and if you know me, I sing along to music. It's just what I do. But I find myself walking along this empty store, singing Keane's Somewhere Only We Know because it's on the PA. And I get to the front desk ready to check out with whatever stupid shit I had found to buy that day. And the manager said, "See, Devon knows this song. This was the right song to start today with." And for all of the other issues and complaints that we had about Toys R Us in this episode, I am happy to have that one moment where Toys R Us was somewhere only I knew. And the reason for that is the man I'm going to hand you off to right now. Will, take it away.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your host Devon Decker and Sejohn Serwick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.